Hi, my name is Gretchen Leffler, and I'm going to be discussing the process of animation, specifically Western 3D animation, using the film Up as an example. The most important part of animated films, no, all films, is the story. You could spend millions of dollars making a film, but if the story's not there, then what's the point? The people of Pixar will spend hours for months staying up past midnight working on the story just to get it right, for no animation should be wasted. So let's start at the beginning. Script and storyboarding. The storyboard brings the script to life. The artists at Pixar will receive the script and a map of the characters' emotional changes throughout the film, and by using those guidelines, the artist will envision their assigned sequences, draw them out, and hope the director loves it. And for the film Up, over 4,000 drawings were created as a blueprint for the film. And you know the first about 5 minutes of Up, the part that you love but also makes you want to bawl your eyes out? That almost didn't happen. But the directors realized that if they didn't get you to fall in love with Ellie, to fall in love with their relationship and why Carl loves her so much, then you wouldn't be along for the ride of why Carl needs to bring his house to Paradise Falls. And once the story's been set, they design the characters. The production designer, Ricky Nierva, created the term simplexity to describe the characters of Up. Simplexity is about selective detail, bringing a character down to its essence, but layering complex detail on top through texture and design to mask how simple the form is. And they wanted to go the distance. They wanted to see how far they could go in essentially creating caricature, but still keeping the character believable. And the key to simplexity is that every shape is a symbol. The circle represents the future, square represents the past. And if you look closely to the pictures on the walls, you'll notice that all the pictures of Carl are in square frames, and all the pictures of Ellie are in circle frames, and all the pictures of them together are in square frames with oval mats. And the most dynamic characters surrounding Carl throughout the film are Russell, Doug, Ellie, and Kevin, and they all have curves. They're always rolling, always moving forward. And then here comes Carl, the least likely to change. He's square, he's a box, he doesn't want to move. After his wife died, he doesn't like change, he doesn't want to change. But it's up to the circles to push the square forward to get him to change. And throughout his adventure, he transcends that weight. He literally straightens up, becomes a more youthful soul. And films have so little time to tell a character's story that you need as much help as possible from visual cues so that when you see the character for the first time, you kind of understand what their personality is like, which results in needing less told through dialogue. And once the character has been designed, you need to find their voice. And it's really interesting to watch actors voice record because they'll often act out whatever the character is doing to get a more realistic voice. Because even though you only hear their voice, they want to make it as believable as possible. Like Jordan Nagy, the voice of Russell. He would literally run around the room as fast as he could and then say his lines so he'd sound out of breath. He even hung on one of the producer's arms to sound like he was struggling to climb the hose towards the end of the film. And after the voices have been recorded, the animators do what they do best, animating. Animation, I find amazing because it's like acting, but you're not the one on stage. I mean, I love acting. I love plays, musicals, you name it, but I'm not one to stand up on stage and act. But through animation, you're acting for that character. And oftentimes, when animators are working, they'll have a mirror by their computer and make funny faces in it to see what their face should look like when a character is doing a certain expression. They'll even act out movements or have their friends act out movements to see how the character should look performing a certain action. And animators do their research, like with Doug. They all went to the local animal shelter and asked to see all of their overweight dogs and would watch them walk, run, sit, play, just to see how their body moved, how the fur moved, how they should look, to give, even though Doug is an animated character, they want you to believe that he could exist in that world. And after the animating is finished, they get into the nitty-gritty details of lighting, surfacing, and effects, and then the film is ready to be rendered. Rendering is building output files from computer animations. It's kind of like a play during Tech Week, when you get all the sound crew, actors, lighting, they all come together to put on that final show they've been working on for months. And just to give you an idea of how long it takes for the film up to be rendered, one frame of film took about 5 to 6 hours to render. Some more complicated frames took about 20 hours. Each second of film has 24 frames, and the film is 96 minutes long. That equals about 35,000 hours of just rendering. And all of that work previously mentioned, plus rendering, the film up took about 1 million hours to create. Wow. But that really pales in comparison to the amount of hours people spend enjoying the film. Thank you so much.